All right, everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into the top 10 upcoming games of week 48. And honestly, this week's lineup is packed with variety. There's action, horror, RPGs, racing, surreal art projects, and even some seriously impressive anime-style combat. And like I said at the very beginning, make sure you stay until the end, because the final game on this list is a special one. It's the kind of title that really stands out and ties this whole week together perfectly. But let's start from the top and slowly build toward that finale. I want to begin with AFTERBLAST because this is the type of game that immediately grabs you with its attitude. It's fast, explosive, chaotic in the best way. It has that classic arena shooter DNA, but injected with crisp, modern visuals and tight mechanics. The moment you see characters boosting across platforms, dodging incoming explosions, and chaining movement together like it's second nature, you get the feeling this could be one of those high skill ceiling games where the more you play, the more insane you can get. And that's something I really appreciate. Not every game has to be a giant cinematic experience. Sometimes you just want pure mechanical fun, that raw adrenaline where every match feels different. Graphically, it's sleek and clean. Lots of neon edges, but not the kind that overload your eyes. You always know where your target is. And even though it doesn't look like it's built around co-op, I'd be shocked if team modes don't eventually show up, because the gameplay practically begs for coordinated chaos. Then there's Hail to the Rainbow, and this one honestly made me laugh at first, in a good way. It's so unapologetically weird, colorful, and chaotic that you almost don't know what's happening when you first look at it. But the thing about these bizarre indie games is that they often have so much identity. They're built with creativity as the core, not formulas. And that's exactly the kind of stuff I want to see more of. Not everything needs to be dark, gritty, or hyper-realistic. Sometimes a game just wants to be playful and surprising, like you've stepped into this unpredictable, cartoon-like universe that doesn't take itself too seriously. And yet, behind all the bright colors, you can see there's structure. Levels, challenges, mechanics that evolve. It's one of those unexpected titles that could end up being ridiculously fun once people actually get their hands on it. Next up, Project Motor Racing. I love when a racing game just focuses on racing. No unnecessary fluff, no giant open world, no gimmicks, just you, the car, the track, and the physics. Watching the footage, I immediately noticed how natural the car movement looks. There's a good sense of weight when the vehicle leans into corners, the suspension reacts to bumps realistically, and you can almost feel the traction through the screen. The visuals are surprisingly polished too. Beautiful track environments, dynamic lighting, realistic reflections. This honestly looks like the kind of game where you could spend hours mastering one track over and over, shaving off milliseconds for that perfect time. It doesn't need to reinvent the genre, it just needs to feel good. And from everything I've seen, it absolutely does. Then we have Ars Notoria. I love games with atmosphere, and this one feels like stepping into a mysterious old library mixed with arcane rituals and forgotten magic. Everything about it is slow, calculated, soaked in symbolism. When you walk through those dim corridors or interact with ancient spellbooks and cryptic runes, you get the sense the game wants you to pay attention. It's not rushing you. It's not throwing explosions every 5 seconds. Instead, it's inviting you into a world built on mystery and hidden knowledge. The art direction is beautiful too, almost painterly, elegant, with dramatic lighting that brings every environment to life. If you're into games that make you think, explore, and uncover secrets at your own pace, Ars Notoria could be something really special. A.I.L.A. caught my eye because of its clean sci-fi style. There's something so appealing about futuristic settings when they're done with this level of polish. Everything looks sharp, like it's been carefully designed. Smooth metallic surfaces, glowing interfaces, sleek environments. But what interested me more was the tone. It seems to be the kind of story-driven experience that dives into themes of artificial intelligence, identity, and humanity. The character animations look smooth, the environments feel alive, and the overall mood feels emotional and reflective, not just action-packed. I get the feeling it's the type of game where you're meant to feel connected to the characters, where the atmosphere is just as important as the gameplay itself. Then we shift gears again with Cowboy Life Simulator. I love when games take on a very specific theme and lean fully into it. And this one really tries to capture the feeling of building a life in the old American West. The dust, the horses, the wooden cabins, the endless plains, it all creates this warm but rugged atmosphere. What I appreciate is that it's not just a survival game. It's more about living the cowboy life, managing your ranch, raising animals, repairing fences, taming mustangs, exploring the wilderness. It's a slow but satisfying rhythm. It feels like the kind of game you can relax with, take your time, and just enjoy the world. It doesn't need big boss fights or flashy effects. It just needs to feel authentic. And from what I've seen, it definitely does. Constance is next, and this one is honestly one of the most visually unique titles on the list. It looks surreal, almost dreamlike, like you're walking through a living painting. The colors, the brushstrokes, the strange environments, everything feels symbolic, artistic, emotional. You don't get many games that are bold enough to break away from traditional visuals, and when one does, it immediately stands out. It looks like a game that wants to tell a story through mood and atmosphere rather than just dialogue. Something metaphorical, something deeper. And if you like games that are more like emotional journeys than traditional gameplay loops, Constance looks like it will absolutely stick with you. Then there's Tormentor. And listen, this is easily the darkest game in this lineup. It's brutal, disturbing, and genuinely uncomfortable in a way most horror games never dare to be. The whole concept puts you in the role of someone running a torture arena. It flips the entire horror genre on its head. Instead of being the victim, you're the one in control. And the game uses that to create psychological tension. The visuals are gritty and detailed, the sound design is unnerving, and the mechanics force you to think strategically about something you really don't want to think strategically about. It's not just about shock value, though. There's actually depth here. Trap building, base expansion, managing your audience, and making choices that define your progression. It's a bold game, and it won't be for everyone, but it's definitely unforgettable. Of Ash and Steel takes us in the opposite direction. A grounded, immersive, open-world RPG with a lot of soul. You play as Tristan, a cartographer forced into a collapsing kingdom full of political conflict, dark secrets, and dangerous creatures. What I love most is how natural the world feels. You're not being dragged around by quest markers. You discover things at your own pace. You climb a ridge, see a distant settlement, decide to explore it, and end up finding a side storyline or hidden treasure. The combat system is surprisingly deep too, with stances, weapon types, and tactical decision-making. And the environments are gorgeous. Forests, cliffs, oceans, towns. Everything feels handcrafted, like the developers genuinely care about building a believable world. It's the kind of RPG where your journey feels personal, shaped by your choices and curiosity. And finally, the special game I mentioned at the start, Solo Leveling, A.I.L.A. OVERDRIVE. This one is on a completely different level. If you're a fan of the anime or the manhwa, this game feels like a dream come true. The moment you see Jinwoo slicing through enemies with those glowing black blades, the shadows swirling around him, the massive bosses, the flashy abilities, you realize they nailed the style perfectly. The combat is insanely smooth, every attack feels powerful, and the animations look like they were ripped straight out of the anime. Even if you've never read Solo Leveling, the gameplay alone looks amazing. Fast movement, stylish combos, big finishers, skill trees, weapons, dungeon runs, and yes, co-op modes too, which look absolutely chaotic in the best way. It's one of those games that will probably blow up the moment it drops, because it has everything people love. Smooth action, strong visuals, addictive progression, and insane hype behind the IP. Out of everything coming out this week, this one really feels like the star. So that's week 48, and honestly, what a lineup. Action, horror, racing, art, RPGs, anime, everything you could ask for. Each game has its own style and its own atmosphere, and that's what makes this week feel so strong. And that final one, Solo Leveling, A.I.L.A. OVERDRIVE, is the perfect cherry on top. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you in the next video.